There's a difference between the people that do it for a while and they can pick up and be very good at it. And there's a difference between the people that like it's their life, it's their lifestyle. So we've got Patrick here, we've got Ron here. These are guys that, to their credit, have done what I've done way longer, what I do way longer. And I just wanted to kind of, for our viewers, yeah, there's guys that are high speed and there's guys that are tactical. You don't have to be LEO, military, you know, some sort of armed security. There's tactics that you can use as a housewife, someone getting carjacked. I've seen examples of you guys doing carjacking stuff. These guys at BPMF, BPMF.com?
BPMF INC.
BPMFINC.com. So if you go to their website, they've got a absolute plethora of training that they do, okay? And it's a destination. It's not the kind of place that you go because, oh, well, it's something you do. It's a destination. It's one of those things that you make it a priority. You go there because you know the level of training that you can get. And, you know, bad guys really can tell when someone's trained. You know, there's a difference, and Patrick can tell you. If you're walking down the street and you got your hands in your pocket and you're just doing your thing, you're a target. If you've got a big lump in your back pocket and it's a cell phone, you're a target. Okay, I like to keep my important stuff up in my main fighting areas, my workspace, my zone. I'm a kicker. Patrick, as inconspicuous as it comes off, if he sees me blade like this, he's going to go, it's dinner. Because he sees that, right? I'm not lying.
Oh, yeah.
He sees it.
We've had this conversation.
You can smell training. Yeah.
It's all pre-fight indicators.
Me and Ron, where Ron's at, I'm comfortable here, okay? But I'm automatically on my back leg. A guy like this is going to tell you, oh, if this guy's on his back leg, and don't let me speak for you.
He's going to teep with a front kick, or
That's
he's
it.
looking to shift his
He's
weight
coming.
to get
He's
light.
coming up.
Yep.
He's coming back, or he's going to get lateral or dynamic or move. But there's ways around that. So it's not, well, if this person puts you in check, you can't get out of it. Like there's always an avenue. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let you guys take the floor.
So I'm going to speak up real quick. My career is similar to Rob. I'm a law enforcement professional. I've been doing it for a long time,
Yeah.
defensive tactics, all that crap, okay? What changed my mind was when I started training with Patrick, and I've been consistently training with him for about a year now, learning how we can do this as legal use of force for average people, as well as justified use of force for law enforcement professionals.
How much would you say your skill set grew, and how many years did you have in training before that? Honestly, how many years in training before that?
20 years in law enforcement,
20 years?
of different styles, of
Right.
different things, and I learned more in 5 minutes with him than I will in 80 hours with other courses. Okay, and whatever he tells you, it's this much of
Yeah.
the truth. He downplays himself. He is such a humble guy, and I'm going to speak up for him.
I love it.
I'm his biggest advocate. I pay for family members to go to his training just because of how valuable it is, how much. So when I go into things as police officers, before I was a little more afraid. Now I can use confidence. I can take people down to the ground, and I can remain calm and control the situation, control other officers with me because of the skills that I have learned in the last year with him.
And it comes off less violent.
Yes.
It is less violent.
My sergeant, after
Yeah.
our first use of force together,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm serious. I'm like, hey, stop fighting us. I don't want you to get hurt the whole time. Hey, we don't need to taser him. We got this. And my sergeant's like, dude, I don't got to worry about him. This guy's dialed in. And it's not because I'm awesome. I'm not a badass. My son and people are like, why do you train so hard? I don't like being afraid.
So in martial arts, and I might be the same for you, where I come from, we train for the man. The man's out there.
Yep.
Where I train, it's always, I haven't met the man yet. Have you met the man? Oh yeah, well, who's the man? The man is the guy that puts you on your ass
Yeah,
that's
and takes, robs, hurts, steals, or kills. Robs, hurts, steals, or kills. That's the man. I train for the man. So when you're in law enforcement, nowadays it's 2023. We don't have to sugarcoat it. If you use a taser, it looks terrible.
Yep.
If you use your hands, it looks terrible.
Yep.
If you punch the guy, it looks terrible. Even if they're going for your weapon nowadays, it still seems like if you do anything to basically not let them take from you, it's terrible. But it doesn't stop at law enforcement. It's housewives, it's your children, it's your entire family. So there's places that around the country you can go. WAFT, for example, like we've talked about with them, That's what they do. It's specifically geared toward family training and destination training.
So, and I'm not going to let him talk because I'm going to keep bragging on him. I've done the law enforcement thing. I've trained with new officers. I've trained with new cadets. I've trained with experienced officers. Okay, but that's not where it ends. Okay, I've seen him train housewives. He trained my mom. My 70-something-year-old mom accidentally pushed her friend down because of the skills he taught her. I've seen 100-pound girls come in and mop the floor with guys like me. My friend has one arm and one leg that work. He was confident in his training with Patrick.
Awesome.
We've worked with the Powertac lights. It's just, I'm his biggest student.
I'm going to let him go to work and show you guys a couple examples.
Because I can feel it.
I'm going to let my friend Ron here be our crash test dummy. Patrick, show him a couple things.
Over here, please. All right, so there are many different dynamics that you can impose. You could go into combative response, you could go into control holds, there's clenching, there's leveraging. All of these things you can enhance with a force multiplier. The cool thing about these flashlights is not only do you have a quick distraction that you can utilize, but you also have the ability to concentrate force with all of the bezeling that they've done here. Even if I want to keep my thumb on the active side to be able to strobe or to flash, I have the ability to pinch here. If I was using a knife, I could do the same thing with a knife, but you can use those same tactics for accelerated control. So if I went to grab a hold of his body, I might need to use two hands. But if I grab a hold of him with the tool, I'm able to enhance that force. So if that means that I need to try to keep somebody else at bay, or I'm trying to protect somebody else, or I'm caught holding a baby, or I'm caught holding something I can't let go of, this gives me the ability to enhance my force to one hand. The other thing that you can think of is I might just be in a position where I need to control somebody. If I'm in a security position or a protection position, I don't want to use impact, and I don't want to put that liability on my client or on my employer. So from here, if I'm utilizing control, I can use just a basic force multiplier, and the perception of the public is so much different. Sad part is nowadays we have to be much more effective than 20 years ago because the population is potentially much more trained. But the sad part is if I can't do that and do it in a way that maintains a perception of control and use of force mitigation, then I'm not going to have a job to come back to. So with this kind of stuff, rather than putting myself into a position where I might have to manhandle him or use a gross motor skill, very subtle. I can move, and I don't have to use these gross movements that look like I'm using a bunch of strength or force. Now,
can I interrupt real quick?
Yes, come on in.
And you don't get smoked doing that. When you're sitting here trying to fight somebody and you're doing this and you're wrestling, your forearms, you don't get smoked.
No, I'm not even utilizing
You're not
muscle.
even utilizing it.
It's like I let the tool do the work.
Exactly.
Okay, and we say the same thing. It doesn't matter if I'm grappling, you let the position work for you. If I'm in this position here and I'm controlling him with my hand and I have a false sense of security, if he can reach over and touch me, he can hit me. So if I've got my tool here and I'm able to mitigate this force here and I feel him start to move, it's really easy for me to negate any type of pivoting, any type of threat. And for him to be effective, first he's got to move his body. So the beauty of the tool is it's not like I'm limited to just control mechanism. If I need to, I can use this as a striking tool, okay? If I need to use this for grasping, no different than if I was a wrestler and I had to control and stabilize, now all of a sudden I've got the ability to use this as a tool for clenching, for opening people up, and then if I need to follow through on something, I've got that as well. Now, just because I've got this tool and I'm holding it, I don't need to work from this space. I could also be, utilizing low line stuff. If I can affect his hip, that sets up my follow-ups. So it's just, you don't even have to change what you already have. I'm not trying to tell you that you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You use this to multiply the tools that you're already using. If I would do an elbow here for a hammer fist, it's a similar body mechanic, and I have a tool now, so I don't have to commit to putting that force on my body. I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting one of these myself because of the strobe feature being independent. There's a lot of different things that you can do with a tool that's designed for defense. You know, rather than me just having to try to utilize
They're awesome.
features within
Yeah.
a basic tool. You know, when it's utilized for defense, all of a sudden I can flash him, come in, control, you know, and it's compounding. Okay.
Let me slide it here if you want to slide this side. So number one, I can't wait for the internet commandos and the keyboard warriors to try and discredit all of that basic stuff that is obviously natural. But here's the other point. So you saw all of the control, permission to,
Yeah. No, you're good.
you saw all of these, the elbows, the placement, the body mechanics. At what point when you go, oh, well, I've got a weapon light, I don't need a handgun light. Now your hand's tied up, and you're not letting go of this, okay? I'm not gonna let go of this firearm. If we get to here, he's gonna take it from 9 out of 10 people. This firearm is gone now. And he's gonna have a flashlight that if he wants to distract me, strobe, even just shine it in my eyes while I'm trying to reacquire where it is on the ground, I have to recover from that.
That's right.
So the people that go, well, I have a weapon light, I don't need a handheld light. No. I don't like to tell people they're wrong, but you're wrong. You're not going to point a gun at somebody like Patrick and him just go, okay. It's just not going to happen.
And the bottom line is, if
Right.
you don't have the force escalation protocol to justify that use of force,
Exactly.
you don't have a job tomorrow anyway.
Exactly.
So
now, you noticed he was able to still use his flashlight. I'm using a bigger one, but he was still able to gain controls. If you watch my bungee cord technique, what I like to do, okay, if I have to do attack reload, all of that stuff is there because if I've got to. If I've got to go with both hands, I can go both hands. I've still got some form of illumination. I don't lose it, but I can let go. You can't just drop your gun and throw it on the ground and go, all right, time to go to work.
That's
and you're
right.
not going to have time with somebody like Patrick to sit there and go, oh, hold on a second. All right, I'm holstered now. Let's fight, because you're in that kill box. You're in that dynamic workspace that's changing. He can change that tune. I mean, you saw how quickly he can move around. That's what martial arts guys and self-defense guys can do. But a handgun light's not going to do it. You can't just pull a handgun out and point it at somebody. You can't do it. So the guys that don't carry a handheld, you're behind the curve, man. But on top of that, the way they're designed, the way this bezel is designed, it's multi-purpose, okay? Is it a cigar ring? Yes. Does it stop the light from rotating if you drop it on the ground? Yes. But there's a reason it's as prominent in the areas it is. Guys like him use it. Guys like I use it, okay? It's a tool. It's one of the things you put in your toolbox. You don't learn how to throw an elbow strike and go, well, I'm a martial artist now. You don't learn how to parry and go, oh, I'm a martial artist now. You don't learn a front kick and go, I'm a martial artist now. You're learning martial arts, but in a quick story, and I'm sure you know this, they don't have black belts overseas. Black belts is an American thing in Taekwondo and karate and all these arts. They don't have, oh, here's your green belt, here's your red belt, here's your purple belt, because that's a trophy system, and people in the U.S. are lazy, and they're lazy. The black belt comes from when you got your dobak or your gi or whatever your uniform is, and it was white. When that belt is black from blood, sweat, tears, you don't wash your belt in martial arts because that's your soul. That's the soul of your training. When that belt looks black, don't mess with that guy. Why? That dude's been doing this a long time. That was like your first telltale sign. That dude's a badass.
Yeah.
So you might not get that privilege. Not everybody's going to be wearing a gi or a dobak. Not everybody's going to go, I have a lot of martial arts training. They're not going to, I mean, this guy puts his hands in his pockets. If you were a Marine, you would lose your mind because they teach you don't put your hands in your pockets. But this guy has that training that he's comfortable. He can tell, all right, well, I might need to worry about this guy. I might not need to worry about this guy. But that's the kind of stuff that training-wise, there is no such thing as bad information if it helps you. You might go and train with them and go, well, I really don't like that aspect of it, but I love that. If they find one thing, I used to tell people when I was training, if I teach you one thing that can save your life, is that worth $50? Is it worth $100?
yeah.
How much are your classes? $500, $1,000?
What's your life worth?
What's your life worth? If I held out a $20 bill and said, give me your soul, you would laugh at me, right? But there are people that won't spend $100 and get training.
Here's your question. How much do you think we've spent on our training?
Yep.
I'll tell you, it's not $100.
Yep.
It's not $200.
That's what a lot of people spend on their college education, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're still not the best.
I'm still a student.
You're still not the best.
Not even close.
Bruce Lee was still a student.
That's it.
There are so many opportunities for you to learn. But what do we spend most of our time on as males and females and people that are in this community? I've probably shopped for 8 plate carriers last month. I've got 5 at the house. I don't know why. I just wanted to see something else.
Yep.
I've shopped for floor mats for my car. I've already got floor mats for my car, but I don't know. I just wanted to see what's out there. I've spent probably 80 hours just scrolling through what's on Netflix or looking through on the phone. If you spend an hour a day just training, if you do an hour a day of dry fire, an hour a day of yaw stroke, and you even just do it from home, you can go take classes from guys like the guys at BPMF, and they can show you a regimen and say, hey, here's what I do. I do dry fire training an hour a day, okay? I do malfunction training the next day. I put out a little calendar. Me, I play a game I call Pick the Color. What I do is I'll grab my firearm, and I'll either do it from a draw, or I'll do it a target acquisition, but I don't waste any draw strokes. I'll turn around in my garage, and I'll go bright green, and until I see bright green, and then I'll bring it up, and I'll punch out, and I'll track my sights. And then I depress the trigger. And then I go purple, and then I turn around, and I'll look for something purple, and I always turn around before I pick the color. But as stupid as it is, I've trained people to shoot red dots without ever shooting around, and they go, dude, I've had a red dot in my gun for 3 years, 4 years. I never was able to do it.
Right.
Because I'm going, you're going to look for that color, and you're not going to look for your dot, and you're going to see, now you can look at that target. Now you can do this, now you can do that. But that value.
It's the same thing with knife training.
Yeah.
You'll be watching, what do you watch, like Friends on Netflix, or,
Yeah, I'll watch
Grey's Anatomy or
Yeah.
something, and then whenever the bad guy comes up, do a knife draw.
That's ingenious.
Yeah, I stand behind my couch. I pick who my bad guy is for the movie or for the TV show. And I might be sitting there for 5 minutes while there's some dialogue going on, and then it'll flash to another scene. I got to step back, deploy, and get my cut.
That's
and then
genius.
fold back up, put
That
it
girl's
away.
a hoe.
That's
It's like,
genius.
you just
I'm
set it
stealing
up to where
that.
it keeps you engaged. I tell people,
Free training.
I still watch Netflix, but I utilize my body. I don't need to sit on the couch and be completely static while I'm
That's
watching TV.
genius.
You know?
So it's same principles, just different tools.
Yeah.
That warrior mindset.
Just work it in. Work it in. You know, it's like I'll do an hour a day of training
Yeah.
if I can watch a movie in the background while I'm doing it.
Heck
and
yeah.
it's purposeful, you know? It's not just random. I'm not just, doing it when I feel
It's
like
a lifestyle.
it. Yeah, it really is.
a lifestyle.
It really is. You know?
Make it a lifestyle. BPMF-Inc.com, near Salt Lake City, Utah, because I'm not able to remember a name. But I promise you.
MCC Defense.
MCCDefense.com. I promise you. Get training. 2 is 1 and 1 is none with flashlights. You can't have just one on your gun. You got to have a handheld. If it's not one from Powertac, get it from somebody else. I'm telling you for your benefit. If you don't like our stuff, I hate that for you. Maybe you're nice enough to shoot us a message or comment and say, here's how I think you improve your brand. Cool, but get training. Be a responsible armed citizen. Be a responsible individual. Your job is to protect your family, okay? It's not my job. It's not his job. It's not Patrick's job. But if you go out there and you seek that training and you better your education, it's not going to hurt you. BPMFinc.com, Powertac.com. Patrick, absolute pleasure. Mr. Ron, it's okay.